I'm sorry, I'm a naked cat. Cats. I unironically loved it. And I mean, maybe that's just because I'm a weird theater kid. And the weird part is important here. Cats has never been everyone's cup of tea, even amongst fans of musical theater. But I love it. I love the music, I love the dance, the performance. I even bought the book of poetry that it's based upon many Jellicle moons ago. And I've never had the opportunity to see Cats performed live, just the 98 version, which filmed it as performed on stage. And I gotta admit, at the time, that one didn't necessarily hold my interest. I mean, I was 5 in 98. What do you expect from me? And that was largely because of the lack of a plot. But the 2019 version adds a plot, and in part because of that, I think the 98 version is the superior filmed version of Cats. Cats 2019 bills itself as the most joyous event of the holiday season, and I mean, they're not wrong. I mean, what are they competing against anyways? Like a 19th century woman owning her own story despite hardships. Good story, but kind of sad. The sexual harassment at Fox News, that's not joyful at all. And you know, there's that like that one high octane crazy war up in the stars. The joyful, Cats is. Good, well, no. Even as one who found it delightful, I wouldn't call it a good movie. I mean, a film adaptation of Cats might never have measured up by Hollywood standards, but if it had more courage to be true to what Cats is, it could have been its own kind of amazing. Obviously, some changes had to be made in adapting this song and dance event for the screen. One of the more central changes was the choice to make Victoria, aka the White Cat, our central point of view character, our audience proxy. She's dropped off in this world that she knows nothing about and has to learn about it. Great, good, this works for me. I just wish they had followed through on it. They give us this throwaway line at the end saying, "Congrats, you're a Jellicle cat now," but why? Because she witnessed the Jellicle Ball? Because she helped bring Grisabella back into the fold? There is something there. I just would like to see it more fully developed. And then, of course, there's Victoria's song, Beautiful Ghosts, written specifically for the screen, co-written by Taylor Swift and Andrew Lloyd Webber, which, you know, it's honestly really growing on me. I have listened to the Taylor Swift version more often than the Francesca Hayward version, I suppose, because that's what plays over the credits as I clean the theater. And then speaking of Taylor Swift, so yeah, there's all these big names in the movie, and I understand that's part of how these things work, part of how they get a project like this greenlit. I expected it to be incredibly distracting. I expected to be very distracted by Taylor Swift. She actually does a really good job as Bombalurina, though. It was actually James Corvin and especially Rebel Wilson that I found very distracting. Like, good God, these people supposedly went to cat school, but who let Rebel Wilson pass? Because she doesn't... Is she even trying to act like a cat? Like, the whole point of this is you dance in a way that makes you look like a cat. And Rebel Wilson just doesn't. But I still have plenty of things that I like to talk about. Most of the actors did a phenomenal job. I did really enjoy the human-cat hybrid dancing. Francesca Hayward in particular as Victoria, like, She's great. She really is. And then there's the set pieces. Unrestrained by the static space of a theater, the film gets to follow the cats as they explore all these fantastical corners of London, and Skimbleshanks' song takes full advantage. This one never really stood out to me before, but it is my favorite sequence of the movie. I love the cats tap dancing across the Thames, and I love the random cuts to the railway cars. It's so fun. I just wish more of the movie was like this. It feels like a wasted opportunity, and that's the worst thing about Cats 2019 is that there's so much cool stuff you could do with a filmed version of Cats that they just don't. So many things could have been done better. And let's start by giving more cats the opportunity to take advantage of the medium of film and its wonders in the way that Skimbleshanks does. Start with Gus the theater cat, for example. Instead of just kind of standing there singing sadly about his glory days, what if we flash back to them? What if we give him the chance to play the barge cat like he does in the stage musical? And why are there not more wide shots of the ensemble dance pieces? Overall, the camera work is just a mess. The point of Cats is the singing and the dancing, and yes, the singing comes through, but the dancing, you have to work damn hard to get any idea of what's going on, because for some godforsaken reason, Tom Hooper decides to just zoom in on every interesting little thing going on when the real interest is the ensemble. Give me a central point of view character, sure, but never forget that the strength of Cats is truly in the ensemble. Screen Rant makes a weird comment on this. I agree with the first part that they say here, that Hooper's direction and editing make it near impossible to focus on the dancing. But what I don't agree with is the assertion that the unfocused staging and decision to add more plot removes the necessity of the dancing to the point where it seems like they may have been better off removing it from the show altogether. And oh good God, no! Do not remove the dancing. That's the whole point of the show. Just do some better camera work. Good God. And speaking about that goddamn plot. The plot makes me angry. The plot is the worst part of this goddamn show. Worst part, hands down. The stage musical is based on a book of whimsical poetry and has more an excuse to exist than a plot per se. I understand why a Hollywood director, and especially a studio putting a bunch of money into this, would see the need for a more conventional plot. And I guess I see how they got to where they did, but it's real bad. It's real bad. Okay, so there's this kidnapping plot. And in the stage musical, yes, Macavity does kidnap old Deuteronomy, but it takes up the space of a song, and there doesn't seem to be any real rhyme or reason behind it. And then it's never mentioned again, which the movie does that part great. Really, instead of taking this one thing that happens in this one song and turning it into a big Hollywood plot, what if you take a step back and actually look at what Cats is even about? Because it's about community. It's about what it means to be part of a community or ostracized from one, and the movie takes steps towards talking about identity as well, which I think could be very interesting. Talking about the three Jellicle names, there's the name that the humans or the outsiders call you, And then there's the name that your community knows you by. And then there's your secret, ineffable name, your innermost self. There's some really interesting things that could be done with that, but instead we get Macavity just willy-nilly kidnapping cats without any heed given to the themes of cats. It should be really simple if you think about it, though, to figure out what Cats is about, to figure out what your plot in Cats should be about. Because if you look, just like open up the soundtrack, look at all those songs. Who has the most solos? Who has more than one solos? I'm pretty sure like the only one that has more than one solos is Grizabella. The plot, such that there is one, is about Grizabella and how she has been ostracized and is let back into the community. And that can also dovetail really nicely with the movie's addition of Victoria, as Victoria finds her way into the community for this first time. And Grizabella's song Memory is obviously the emotional heart of the show, and arguably the reason that it stayed on Broadway and in the West End for so long. To sideline Grizabella for this weird kidnapping plot is just dumb. Like, I'm sorry, that's dumb. Want a big baddie for your Hollywood film? Fine, Macavity's not a bad choice. I just think that he would be more effective if he were up to some slightly different schemes. Like, for example, you know, the movie tries to say that Grizabella has been shunned for going around with Macavity. Okay, so how about Macavity's bad scheme is he starts trying to seduce other cats. He, instead of disappearing Buster Jones and Jenny Any Dots, try and seduce them. Try and seduce Victoria. Give our point of view character a chance for some growth. And most importantly of all, go seduce old Deuteronomy, because whether the disappearing old Deuteronomy happens because Macavity got turned down, or if that's just like what happens when you give in, you get to disappear, oop doop doop. Old Deuteronomy is lucky enough to have magical Mr. Mistopheles to bring her back. Grizabella didn't have that. And then it would mean something when Grizabella comes in for her reprise of Memory, because old Deuteronomy has now gone through a similar experience, learns some compassion and can empathize, and that's why she makes her Jellicle choice, because she sees her own pain in Grizabella. It would give the show a lot more resonance if that was the plot, instead of some dumb oop-de-doop disappear and then don't talk about it again. I like this show. I like these characters. I don't like the fact that the way the movie currently stands, I walk out of the theater thinking they are all a bunch of victim-blaming assholes because they shun Grizabella for going around with Macavity. Like, why don't you just shun Macavity and let her back in? Why are you all victim-blaming? God! Honestly, I think I could make a better Cats movie than Tom Hooper. But no one's gonna get another chance at this one after how badly the box office turned out. Whew, quite a flop. But the movie that exists is worth seeing if you like the musical, because the music itself is fun, the dancing is great when you can piece together what's happening. I enjoyed myself, and if I'm honest, the people who come to see Cats at the theater I work at are my favorite theater patrons because they just have so much fun. At this point, it's turning into a movie that people go see because they've heard it's bad and they want to roast it, which, you know, is a valid and fun way to see a movie too. And I'm not going to argue with you because there's plenty to roast here. If you've got burning opinions about Cats, feel free to comment below, and I'm gonna try and do a few more of these in the coming months before I take off to hike the PCT, because I work at a theater, so I can see movies for free right now, and it's great. So like, share, subscribe if you like this English major's video essays. Doo-doo-doo. Hi Tira, are you a jellicle cat? Also a great big thank you to my patrons who signed up for poetry but got cats vlog this week. Extra special thank you to my biggest patrons, DeAnna and Ben Addams, on whose drunk bunk I am filming. And thanks to DeAnna for the cat onesie.